Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of June 2025. As always, we are going to pull an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week, correlate those messages to the astrological transits. Then we will wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. So let's see what Aquarius energy needs to know for the month of June. Grieve your losses. Okay. So it might be that maybe there are friendships that are kind of, you're reviewing the loss of a friendship, reviewing the loss of a loved one, a romantic partner relationship, or even a job. And it could just be to allow yourself to process emotions even from past losses, right? It doesn't even have to be anything current that's going on, but actually allowing yourself to grieve what you've lost in the past, right? Let's see what the tarot has to say. I know that Pluto is currently retrograde in your sign. Anytime a planet is retrograde, we are being asked to reevaluate and to review things. And that's kind of what it made me think of, is like not necessarily anything that you're losing potentially right now, but ultimately maybe things you have not actually processed from the past, or changes that have recently occurred since probably around November. But again, let's see what the tarot has to say. The Knight of Pentacles here in the first week. The Eight of Wands here in the second week. The Wheel here in the third week. And the Six of Pentacles here in the fourth week. Okay. So this looks relatively positive. It looks like forward movement. Maybe things are just turning slowly here in the third week. But ultimately, here in the first week, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. Knights are the action takers of the tarot. And this knight is just moving slowly. Like, he's very intentional. He's earth sign energy. So he's very intentional with what he's moving towards and actions that he is taking. This is the week that we have Venus, the planet of love, money, beauty, aesthetic, and value, moving into the sign of Taurus. She's very comfortable in Taurus. And ultimately, she's like, their energies just go really well together. So this is a very harmonious aspect for you guys. Taurus is actually sitting in your fourth house. So this is your house of home. This is your house of family. This is the house where we kind of experience and develop our emotional stability, right? So it could be, if you're thinking about moving, changing locations for you and your family, just be intentional and deliberate about any decisions or choices that you're making. Just when it comes to maybe making decisions when it comes to your family, intentional and deliberate with any choices or actions that you take. Here in the second week, we've got the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands represents quick decision. It represents aligned action, or like inspired action. And when we act on that inspiration, it tends to be successful. And this can also represent quick and direct communication. This is the week that Mercury, the planet of thoughts, ideas, and communication, is moving into the sign of Cancer. Cancer for you guys sits in your sixth house. This is your house of health and work habits. This is your house of like daily routine. So it's stuff that you experience on a day-to-day basis. And with Cancer being in that house, your day-to-day, like, you need to be nurturing and caring for not only yourself, but maybe your family. Like, that's just kind of how that energy expresses itself in that position. So it could be that maybe with family, like, you need to be a lot more maybe clear and direct on how you communicate with people closest to you. This is also this is the week on the 9th, we've got Jupiter, the planet of luck, money, not money, but luck, abundance, growth, expansion, moving into that very sign. So it could potentially mean that maybe your day-to-day life, like someone new enters the picture, right? Or now you're having to incorporate another person into the day-to-day things, or there's just another responsibility that you're ultimately taking on, whether this is in the home, in your day-to-day life, or even at work. This is also the week that we're going to experience a full moon within the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius sits in your 11th house. This is your house of friendships and social circles. And this is also the house of like dreams and aspirations, right? What we aspire for with the future. So it could be that with this full moons are a buildup of energy. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I heard something in the house and I'm here by myself and I was like, oh my God, what is that? But anyway, it was nothing. Full moons are a buildup or a culmination of energy. And the height or the intensity of the full moon has the tendency to activate things that we need to see, things that maybe we need to change or even release. And for you guys with Sagittarius being there, maybe it's showing you where you need to take more decisive action towards your hopes and dreams. Okay. Here in the third week, we've got the Wheel of Fortune or the Wheel of Fate in reverse. This energy can represent that you're going through a life cycle and things are turning slowly. It could mean that you are trying to control how things unfold in a particular situation. Or it can represent that you're somehow blocking your own growth, right? In this week, we have Mars, the planet of action, desire, aggression, assertion, and war, moving into the sign of Virgo. Virgo sitting in your 8th house. This is a challenging house, but it is a house that Mars traditionally rules. So it could be that the energy smooths itself out for you here. But the 8th house governs things like death and rebirth. It governs things like transformation. It governs things like the occult and very taboo subjects like death and inheritances. It also governs things like shared resources. I also tend to incorporate this or interpret this house because we think of debt and inheritance and we think of shared resources. Energetically, we tend to share our resources with people that we are closest to. Right? This is the 8th house follows the 7th house, which is business contracts and marital contracts, like marriages as well. So when we think of those types of very connected relationships, not only are we sharing financial resources, but we are sharing mental and emotional and spiritual resources as well. So it could be that you guys are trying to control the outcome of a situation, or that things are just really, the energy is moving very slowly that week. Here, before I forget, this is when Cancer season begins. Anytime we shift into a new astrological season, the themes and qualities of that sign tend to take center stage. So again, your 6th house is going to be very, very activated for this month. That is also when we kick off the summer solstice. Here in the last week, we have the 6 of Pentacles. This represents like an even give and take of energy. This is reciprocated energy. This could be reciprocated resources because we are talking about pentacles, right? But whatever it is that you're investing in is exactly what you're getting back. This is the week that we have the new moon within the sign of Cancer on the 25th. So again, your 6th house is being activated. We have the 6 of Pentacles here. Whatever you're doing on a daily basis, whatever you are investing in on a daily basis is what you are getting in return. So if you are investing in doom scrolling, if you are investing in eating a bunch of junk food and not taking care of yourself, if you are investing in hanging out with people, surrounding yourself with people who are consistently in drama or cultivate have drama around them, then that is what you are getting back into your life. So the new moons are an opportunity to set intentions or to write a new chapter for ourselves around that particular area of our life. And again, for you guys, this is your 6th house. This is your house of health and daily habit, your work habits as well. So whatever it is that you're investing in on a daily basis is what you are getting back. This is also the week that we have Mercury, the planet of thoughts, ideas, communication, and messages, moving into the sign of Leo. Leo sits in your 7th house. This is your house of business contracts and long-term romantic partnerships. Let's see what clarifying messages we can get. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I bet the noise that I thought I heard, they're redoing the roof and the siding on the house that's across the street from us. So I probably heard something along that lines and just thought it sounded like it was coming from inside the house. That's what I'm going to tell myself anyway, so I don't freak out. Look, the 7 of Swords came out like I am deceiving myself. Oh, man. Dang it. These cards are very slick. I love them. It's a beautiful deck, but their material, like they're very, very slick. And so they shuffle great. But if you're not careful, if you're not slow and intentional with shuffling these cards, they will fly out everywhere. So let's see. Here in the first week, the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles again. So this week it is emphasizing the fact with your Taurus house, your 4th house, your house of home, like you need to be very intentional. And it might mean that if you're looking to purchase a new home or whatever the case may be, going around the 4th house energy, again, this is your family and this is your physical home as well as your internal home. I have a feeling it has more to do with your physical home because we've got earth sign energy here. You need to be saving. You need to be very financially fiscal with this area of your life. Like, do not go out splurging on new throw pillows unless you absolutely have to. Okay, that is kind of, and which is going to be a bummer. You're going to grieve that loss. I really wanted those new throw pillows. Well, you don't need them right now. And right now the energy is saying you need to be very intentional with what actions you're taking, specifically regarding your home life and your physical home. There's no new communication coming in. We have the Ace of Swords in reverse. And the Ace of Swords, aces are new beginnings or new opportunities. And swords represents communication, thoughts, and ideas. It's the mind, right? When this card is in reverse, it can represent that there are no new ideas coming in. There's no communication coming in. So if you're waiting on a job offer, this could potentially mean like, look, you need to keep saving your money, or you need to keep being very, you need to keep pinching your pennies for this week because that communication you might be waiting on is not coming in just yet. Or again, if you're looking to relocate, buy a new house, something along that lines, you're not finding any new ideas. You're not coming up with any new, or not that you're not coming up with any new ideas, but it feels like there's no incoming messages or communication on that front. And even just if there are people in your house that need to communicate, and they could be refusing to communicate with each other. I don't know why that just came up, because we've got 2 people here and then no communication. So if there's like 2 people in your home that they probably should be having a conversation, but right now they're just not ready to communicate. Here in the second week, the Sun. Very nice. And the Five of Wands in reverse. It feels like with the Eight of Wands, like I said, the Eight of Wands is like clear, direct communication. And it looks like that is what needs to be taken. That's going to be the focus and the forefront because it's kind of what's necessary. Maybe you're feeling very good about the communication. You're feeling very happy about it, very inspired by the communication. It's communication that's coming from the heart, very positive communication that needs to be taken. But the underlying energy could potentially be that someone feels unseen and unheard, right? It could be that you're like, you know what? I don't think we're going to overcome these obstacles. I don't feel very confident that we're going to overcome these obstacles. So I'm just going to say what it is that I want to say, right? Again, this is the full moon. This is the week of the full moon in Sagittarius. It can bring tension because that's what the Five of Wands can represent in reverse. It represents tension and like conflict or a lack of confidence in your ability to overcome any conflict. But with you guys, Sagittarius, it could be with a friend, right? Maybe you and a friend are butting heads. Like there's a conflict of interest here. But you're going to choose to either take action. I don't want to say against that, but you're not going to let that hold you back. You're not going to let that stop you from seeking out your own happiness, regardless of how it may make them feel. Here in the third week, the Wheel in reverse, the Three of Swords, and the Eight of Swords. So it could be that there is it almost feels like you're blocking your own growth here because you're afraid of loss. You're afraid of separation. You're afraid of potentially of rejection, right? So it feels like that fear, that limiting belief is holding you back from doing whatever it is you need to do in regards to potentially, what is this, the third week? Potentially around your day-to-day co-workers, again, still people, maybe dealing with people in the home because we see them on an everyday basis, or it can be like people that you share resources with, right? If your money is tied up with another person, if you are purchasing something together, have invested in something together, it could just be that like you're like, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my investment. I don't want to lose my investment. I don't want to lose my friend. I don't want to create this thing. I'm afraid that it's going to result in loss and disappointment and rejection. But ultimately, that's your own mind creating that narrative, and it's blocking your growth. It's you're holding yourself back if you allow yourself to believe that story. And trust me, fear of rejection and fear of abandonment is a very real thing. We are human creatures. We are human beings. We are communal. We rely on each other to survive. But when that reliance becomes so disempowering, that's when it becomes unhealthy. So a fear of abandonment or rejection is a very real thing, but at what cost? Here in the last week, the Six of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles in reverse. If you just open up, you might actually find out that whatever the situation is, again, whether this is with a family or friend or coworker, that they might be more than willing to do whatever it is you've asked them to do. the wounded warrior, the 9 of Wands. You could be very, very guarded, very, very guarded, but you do need to open up, because I think it's going to wind out to be, it's going to work out more in your favor, right? Don't let that fear hold you back, right? And again, this feels like grieving past losses, like where maybe you have lost a friendship, lost contact with a family member, had to cut somebody off because of very difference of opinion or whatever the case may have been. And that fear is resurfacing when the potential for that outcome comes back around. But it doesn't look like you're going to have the same experience that happened then. It looks like it's actually going to probably work out a little bit more in your favor, but you still need to allow yourself to process those emotions and to grieve that experience, to grieve that loss. So I truly hope this helped. I hope you got, oh God, I didn't even do the, I'm not trying to cut you off. I promise I'm not. It just felt like a good time to wrap it up. I was like, oh, well, that's pretty like clear. It's pretty cut and dry. I like readings that are like that. But I'm glad I remembered. Decluttering. This is card number 13. 1 is about the self and creation, and 3 is about creative expression. This is about the result of 1 and 2, which is like you making choices that result in something, but putting them together and you get 4. And this is where the energy is hitting your 4th house, right? So you may need to, while you're kind of, it almost feels like simplification. Like you need to simplify your home life, and that could require you to just declutter. If you've got no new ideas coming in, declutter the mind, declutter your physical home, declutter your physical body. Like go on a fast, detox, drink some detox teas if you're able to do so. Just hydrate. People think they need to do all these special things to detox their body, and in reality, they don't. Just keep your liver and your kidneys functioning as best they can, and guess what? They detox a lot of stuff for you, but you have to stay hydrated. Sorry, that was a separate tangent. But declutter your physical space, declutter your mind, and allow things to present themselves in the simplest way possible. 0 fucks given. This is card number 52. 5 represents challenge and conflict and change. And 2 represents choices, harmony, balance. Put them together and you get 7. When we encounter challenges and hardships and we choose to just do what is best for us, when we choose to not give a damn about the ultimate outcome or about what other people say, we actually come into a space of alignment, as long as we're not hurting ourselves or anyone else. I'll make that disclaimer. That we end up creating, we end up putting ourselves in a position of empowerment, right? So like I said, clear and direct communication, because you know that saying what's on your mind is going to make you happy. So don't worry about what anyone else has to say. Don't worry about their input. If it's making you and your family happy, if it is what is best for you and them, c'est la vie. Here in the last week, becoming nobody. This is card number 49 for stability, its structure, its foundation. 9 is a completion. It's coming to the end of a cycle. And sometimes we have to, sometimes the universe will put us in positions that requires us to grieve a loss or to face a fear of loss, because our identity has become too tied, too intertwined with that loss. And then it begins to prohibit our growth. So the universe will sometimes put us in positions where it will strip away what we have once believed of ourselves so that you can become nobody, and then you can become somebody that you admire, respect, and want to be. Here in the last week, prioritize reflection. I kind of get the feeling like these are very, I don't know, it's almost like this look, this very sullen kind of look. I wish I knew what card this was. I want to say it's 33 maybe. 33 is a master number. It's the master healer. It's the master teacher. We essentially become our own guru when we know thyself. When we know ourselves so much, when we prioritize reflection of ourselves, that is when we truly get to know ourselves. And that is when we truly get to become the master of who it is that we really want to be. So in this last week, prioritize that reflection. What is it that you want to receive on a daily basis? What is it that you want to give on a daily basis? And open yourself up. You can maintain those boundaries. You can you can do it in a way that's very cautious. But ultimately, if you want to be able to receive, you have to open yourself up to receive, right? So I truly hope this helped. I hope you guys have an incredible week, and we will see you next time.